Today, I'm going to be platinuming AOT 2, the sequel to AOT Wings of Freedom, and the second game I'm going to be platinuming on this channel. AOT 2 covers the first two seasons of the Attack on Titan anime, while the DLC covers the third season, and has you experience the story through the eyes of a nameless hero, your own custom character, and arguably the strongest scat in the core. AOT 2 has 40 trophies, 20 of which are bronze, 16 are silver, 3 are gold, and of course 1 is platinum. The trophy guide for this game gives it a 7 out of 10 difficulty rating and estimates a 90-hour completion time, making this a tad bit harder than my previous video. For this platinum, I'll need to do a few things. I'll need to finish the story, get an S rank on all story and most of the side missions, max out my friendship with all characters, complete the gallery, do a bunch of numbers based achievements, and a few miscellaneous trophies along the way. Massive spoiler warning for Attack on Titan as a whole ahead, you've been warned. The game starts off in first person as the female Titan rampages through the inner wall while we are currently faceless Scout chase her down alongside iconic characters. Here I'm taught how to move using the ODM gear and don't get much to do other than that at the moment. We then go through a flashback to the Colossal Titan breaking the wall of Shiganshina as our child self runs from the chaos and the armored Titan breaks in the gate, killing good old mum and dad. It's here that our main character vows revenge against the armored Titan and the story is set in motion. A couple years later we join the 104th Cadet Corps and begin our training, but first I need to make my character. I decided I'd make him look cool since I'd be stuck with him for the next 90 hours and I set off. I learned some more movement basics and combat training which did confuse me a little bit, and I'm sent on my final training mission to kill as many dummy Titans as I can in 5 minutes. I killed them all in half that and earned my first achievement being "Don't worry, just keep training" for being the highest ranked cadet in training. Also, after getting through the results screen and getting a full S rank because I'm just that good, I get an achievement for doing just that. After that, I unlock the daily life portion where I can talk to squad mates, do their social events, and upgrade my combat gear. After that, I move on to my next training session, which teaches me about building bases for different purposes, such as respawning gas and blades, and I also learn about buddy actions. While in combat, I can have a team of up to 4 other soldiers, whether they be characters from the anime or cannon fodder, and direct them to attack whichever part of the Titan I have highlighted. Once I do this for the first time, I get another achievement pop, and after getting another beautiful S rank, I talk to Mina and Thomas to learn about friendship rank ups and also how to get achievements for doing so. After this, I go around and chat with my squad mates some more before learning about the gear system, which I'm going to need to craft every single piece of and all their upgrades for gallery completion. After some preparations, I head to Tross for our first big set of missions covering the anime's Tross arc. The Colossal Titan reappears, blows another hole open, and disappears. And now it's time for me to learn the Hook Drive, which is a way to counter any Titans that may try to attack me with some sick moves, and a way to get another achievement. A couple of things happen in this arc. Eren obtains his Titan form and Mina and Thomas die, which is a problem because I can't get my friendship up with them now. Other than that, nothing crazy happens here and I spend the next 2 hours completing missions and earning the achievement for completing the first chapter. After that I talked to Hanji, learned how to ride a horse, and had a chat with Erwin on being a scout. This unlocked a few things, but most importantly it unlocked the scout missions, the side missions of this game, and they're just a bunch of Titan slaying missions, but I had no problem doing these because this game is just so much fun. It's like crack, like you see this? Once I started my second set of scout missions, I kinda just ended up getting the achievement for 25% gallery completion, and I wasn't even really paying attention to it, so it caught me by surprise. I also learned about Titan capture at this point, which can net me a bit of money and XP towards upgrading the Titan research room, which will unlock some more abilities. I continued to grind out scout missions, barely missing S ranks on a lot of them, and ended up getting an achievement for a successful sneak attack on a Titan, which I should have gotten earlier when I did the tutorial for sneak attacks, but I guess not. I continued doing scout missions, mindlessly enjoying myself when I was informed by the achievement gods that I had already finished a quarter of them, and maybe it was time for me to continue the story. We follow up with the Levi squad while we prepare for another expedition. To do this we need to set up a supply base, which means another Titan slaying mission. During this mission I get the achievement for completing 100 quote-unquote side quests, which is a small quest where you save another scout and recruit them to your team, and after another couple missions we also complete chapter 2. I decided to go through the shop to upgrade some gear when I got this achievement for spending 100,000 regiment funds, and then I decided I would go through some more scout missions when I got a flurry of achievements for doing the following. Building 100 bases, having 100 allies join me in battle, having 100 allies die in battle, and killing 1,000 Titans. I then began chapter 3, where I set off on a scout expedition to begin retaking the wall, but on our way we ran into the female Titan who was here for one thing and one thing only: Eren. I did a couple of story missions and found out that I now could go back to daily life in between missions, and so I did. I completed a couple of story events, eventually completing 50% of the gallery and being awarded this beauty. I then returned to the main quest, slaying titans and rescuing comrades when I got the achievement for doing just that 100 times, so I guess they're just useless without me. Afterwards, I complete this chunk of the main quest line, and you guessed it, continued on with the scout missions. There's just something so fun about not worrying about the story and just fucking up some titans, you know? Anyway, I completed a total of 50% of these missions, and yeah, you already know. I've also spent quite a lot of time capturing titans with the Titan research room, as I mentioned earlier, and when I went in to report my next batch, I found out I'd maxed it out at level 10, which means no more stress about that. I continued on with the female Titan arc, where we lose the Levi squad, discover the identity of our traitor, and capture her, sealing her away until fucking season 4, thereby completing chapter 3. At this point, the difficulty of the scout missions was starting to catch up with my gear level, and I wasn't able to make any more because I was too far behind the story, so I decided to blitz through the rest of the game, completing the Clash of the Titans arc and their 2 corresponding chapters. This wraps up the anime's first 2 seasons, but we also have something completely original at the end, right after I delivered my 50th gift. We now get something brand new, where the Titan shifters return and breach the final wall. Here we fight the Armored, Beast, and even the Colossal Titan. Of course, none of them are truly defeated, that would break the timeline, but we do complete the 6th and final chapter of the game, leaving us with side content that is supposedly going to take up the next 60 hours or 2/3 of my total playtime. So, a couple of new things. First is the Dire Eliminations, an extra difficult Titan that appears after satisfying special conditions in each mission. By defeating it and getting an S rank, I get the SS rank for the mission, which, though unnecessary, is something I want to do. I need to defeat all of these for an achievement, which means I'll be replaying every single story mission and ensuring I also S rank all of them, which is another achievement I need to clean up. Also, I need to max out my friendship with everybody, which is now possible thanks to a new mission in certain levels that allows me to save comrades who normally die in the story, such as Mina and Thomas, whom I mentioned earlier. These are indicated by yellow mission markers in the levels they die in. And so I began working my way through each story level. I started a couple levels in to save Mina and Thomas and completed my first Dire Elimination for an achievement. In between missions, I also used all my Wings of Freedom currency to train my stats as much as possible, eventually maxing them out. I also maxed out Eren's friendship, making it my first rank 10 friend. And so I spent the next roughly 6 hours replaying every single story mission and getting every single Dire Elimination. If I had just done the missions and nothing else, it probably would have only taken about 3 or 4 hours, but I also tried to do as much friendship stuff in between, which took about 5 minutes in between each 10 to 15 minute mission, and a lot of these friendship events had their own missions tied into them, which slowly inflated the playtime as I went on. None of the Dire Eliminations were actually very difficult, they just spawned decently far away from everything else, and really just trying to make finishing the level quickly for an S rank more stressful. Once I was about halfway through, I S ranked the last mission I needed, as I had S-ranked every mission after it while playing the story. And another 3 hours after that, I returned to the final mission. This one was the only one that really had me stressed out of any of them because the requirements felt so strict. The special missions required me to defeat the Beast Titan twice, once at the start and at the very end, and defeat the Colossal Titan within 5 minutes, all while defending every important base, because if one falls, it means hitting the reset button on the mission. And if I wanted to S-rank the mission, I also needed to kill almost if not all the Titans on the map, finish every side mission, and complete it in a certain amount of time. And off I went, killing any Titans close enough to be a worry. I sped off to the first Beast Titan fight and took him down as quickly as possible, and then raced back to the center because Titans had already started swarming my bases. I did a loop and raced off to the next side mission, which I almost ran out of time for, and I did another loop, completed another side mission, and once the timer ran out, the Colossal Titan appeared, and my 5-minute timer started counting down. Unfortunately, I couldn't go after him straight away as one more side quest appeared and even more Titans started moving towards the center. I tried to do as many as possible, but soon realized that I had to abandon the center and hope it defended itself well enough. I took down the Colossal Titan as quickly as possible with my squad coming in clutch and barely scraped past the 5-minute mark. It was perfect. For my final mission, I needed to stop the Armored Titan from reaching its destination, but I also needed to defeat the Beast Titan again and then the Dire Elimination in that order. I staggered the Armored Titan and raced off towards the Beast Titan, and while I did that, the Armored Titan downed Eren and began making a run for the target area. Luckily, Eren picked himself back up and held him off again. Now it was time for the final Dire Elimination, which decided to spawn really far away to really stress me out. Luckily, Eren is the fucking man of steel this time around and held his own, giving me enough time to complete the final Dire Elimination. After that, I sped back to the Armored Titan and killed him, meaning that I have now SS ranked every single story mission. Here's what's left to do. I need to complete all scout missions, max out friendship, complete all other parts of the gallery, and the real big bad of this final leg is creating every single piece of gear in the game. What makes that so annoying, you ask? Only that all the materials I need are locked behind Inferno mode, which is story mode on crack. Titans have way more health and are far more aggressive this time around, meaning I can't be turning my brain off to this game anymore. I began the final leg by beginning to clean up the scout missions. I had finished roughly 2/3 of them by this point, and as I was completing these, I hit max level on my custom character, finally cut off 2,000 Titan limbs, and spent a total of 1,000 Winds of Freedom. But now we come to an issue. The scout missions were starting to get harder and harder, and I was doing less and less damage because I wasn't able to upgrade my gear because I couldn't get the materials to build them. So I leapt into Inferno mode, and yeah, it was annoyingly tedious. And the amount of materials I was getting wasn't going to be enough long term. The next thing I tried was the DLC, as I had heard that the missions in that give you the same, if not more, of the materials that Inferno mode gave you, but turns out it was roughly the same. It was then that my search results blessed me with a wealth of information that if I went into Territory Recovery mode, which is DLC exclusive, and unlocked both my custom character and this guy, and nurtured their bond to level 5, I got the Elimination Bounty skill, which adds about, let's see here, yes, 20 to my material gain at the end of a mission. You heard that right, I have just saved myself God knows how many hours of grinding and almost falling asleep in my chair, and now when I play Inferno mode, as long as I get enough perfect kills, my material gains for the mission go from looking like this to this.
I can't stop winning!
This also solved my money issue as I very quickly gained an excess of very valuable material, and what do you do with that? You sell it and become Scrooge McDuck diving into his lake of fat coins. Once I had the gear I was comfortable with, I moved back over to story mode and completed the rest of the scout missions. I also made sure to S-rank all of them, as doing so earned me every character's muster roll, which I needed all of for gallery completion, and we are really starting to get to the annoying stuff now. I then decided to take a break and tackle another mode, where I needed to choose a character and get them to rank 10, which is the max rank in the base game, and the DLC ups it to 15. I chose to do this as Levi, as I had already gotten him to rank 4 from doing Territory Recovery, and during this I also got the achievement for avoiding 100 Titan attacks, and soon after got Levi to rank 10. Now at this point all I have left is to max out my friendship and to build every piece of gear in the base game, but to build every piece of gear I need a lot of what's called Scarlet Drops. These allow me to craft the last tier of each piece of gear, and I was going to need a lot of them. And there were only two ways to get them, either grind out Wings of Freedom and buy them in the Another mode, or grind the fuck out of Inferno Territory Recovery, and I chose the latter. Now, you may be wondering, isn't Territory Recovery DLC, like you said earlier, or Alcoup, you glorious genius who can do no wrong? And you would be absolutely correct, and this did occur to me, but the implications of it did not hit me until I was checking out the gallery and noticed that I only needed 3 more sets of blades for the gallery, except when I go to the gear shop I still have like 12 swords left to make, and then it hit me. The Scarlet Drops weren't in the base game, they are DLC exclusive, and all those sets of blades that need them are also DLC only. They added an extra tier of weapon to every single piece of gear, and I didn't realize until I grinded a bunch of them out, so this meant 2 things. 1, I am not the genius you all thought I was, I know, I'm sorry. And 2, I had much less on my plate now, and whilst I was annoyed at myself, it was also a huge weight off my shoulders, and I did not touch Territory mode after that, and just started grinding regular Inferno mode. While grinding Inferno mode, I did my best to get my friendship up as much as possible, and when I ranked this guy to 5, I got the achievement for unlocking everybody in Another mode. I then spent the next like 15 hours grinding out materials and had to fight the Titan shifters a lot because the crystals they dropped were needed in so many fucking weapons, bro. What I will say though is that the Elimination Bounty skill I got from Territory Recovery was actually the fucking clutch god, because getting like 25 of everything instead of 3 saved me literal hours of mindless grinding. Eventually, I did get all the gear pieces finished, which just left friendship. I was a decent way away from doing all this, but I found out the easiest way I had was to invite them out on scout missions and just speedrun those. This slowly maxed out everybody, and during this I got the last character event and finally got 100% for the gallery. I then continued doing this for the rest of the characters, and for the last few ranks I just spammed the gifts that I had left, and after talking to Mobler, the GOAT, because he puts up with all of Harmby's shit, I maxed out all friendship and popped We'll Make a Breakthrough eventually and see what these walls are hiding for the Platinum Trophy. And that is the Attack on Titan 2 Platinum. This took me 108 hours, which includes my pointless Scarlet Drop grinding. I had a ton of fun playing this game and never really found myself not enjoying my time, because when this game hits right, it hits right. You know what I'm saying? The movement is fast and mostly fluid. Combat does not change but never gets boring, and it feels like there are so few bad things I could say about this game, other than the friendship mechanic being kind of bland. Anyway, feel free to hit that big red button, that thumbs up, and I'll see you all later.